this on. Let's go all the way up to 2x. Whoa! Hi everyone, Odron here. Welcome to Wild Bush and Grit. Today in this video I want to cover what usually beginners are missing when they are going out to get their first hunting scope. Alright, so this video is your first step at understanding what are the various features of scope. So at least when you're in front of clerks in the shop, when they were throwing at you, you know, all the features and this and that, you actually know what they're talking about, and then you can take an informed decision. So before looking at scope, the first thing you need to determine is whether you need one or not. I'd say if you know for sure that you will be hunting at a distance of average, 50 yards, for example, because, you're having your Tristan, you're setting your bait, honestly, I don't think you need a scope. Iron sight, save that money and buy yourself some nice other furniture for your hunt, whether it's clothing or whatever, but I don't think you need a scope for anything that is 50 yards. There is only one reason that you would get a scope, and it's really to gain a little bit of brightness at the first light in the morning or at the last light in the evening, because if you're hunting in the cover, you will lose those iron sight very fast as soon as the light, goes down. So getting a scope here can help you. And the other thing you can also consider is, for example, we don't all have like a 20/20 eyesight. The only thing you could consider is actually a red dot. And I do have a red dot somewhere. So for example here, I have a nice little red dot. Let me know if you want me to cover this 2012R. I'll give you the detail of my build. But red dots are great, for if you don't need magnification and your range is going to be fairly limited. So when do you need a scope then? For me, the scope is going to be useful at 100 and over, okay? I think this is where scope come handy. The main question from here is then how much magnification? For me, even past 100 yards to 300 yards, you don't need a lot of magnification for hunting purposes. And there's actually a drawback of having too much magnification, and we can cover that in a couple of minutes. But for hunting scenario, I would say a nice scope would be between 2 to 10, okay? So at the lowest magnification, you have magnification of 2, and at the highest 10. This is ample. 2 will give you a good open field of view, all right? And at 10, let's say you have a situation where you will reach a little bit further beyond. Let's say the animal is at 200, 250, 300 yards. This is where you can go at 10. My personal experience, my longest shot in the hunting scenario was 270 yards. Actually, it was with the Lopal here. This is 3.5 by 10, 50 millimeter lens. And I wasn't at 10 when I took the shot. I was around between 6 and 7 magnification. And the reason I don't like to zoom in too much is because the more you zoom in, the more the picture is big, the more you're seeing your sway. And if you were to back out a little, you will have a little bit more confidence because you're actually seeing more of the whole vital zone instead of being very, very focused, and everything seems to move a lot very fast. So that's the only reason why I do not like having too much magnification. So I would say, of course, the magnification correlates to the distance at which you're shooting. And this scope here, this is a 17, this is a 27. The 27, when I'm doing precision shooting at 100 yards, when I'm steady, the scope is not even moving, and I'm just looking through the scope, I can see my heartbeat jumping on that reticle. And when you're hunting and you have like a big buck not that far from you, and you can take a shot and that heart is racing, man, that reticle goes up and down. So anyway, back on topic, how much magnification I would suggest personally for a hunting rifle. There's a wide range of scope between 3 to 9 in terms of magnification power, which I find quite suitable for hunting. You can 2 to 10, I think, is the best. 3 to 9 is also great, okay? So going back on the features of the scope, so higher price usually equate more features. One big feature that usually will make a scope cost more is the first focal plane or second focal plane. What does that mean? For hunting purposes, I use second focal plane, okay? And what's a second focal plane? Second focal plane is when you use your magnification, when you're zooming in, your reticle doesn't change size. First focal plane, which is mainly used by competitive shooter and long-range shooter, it means the reticle actually size up and stay consistent with the distance at which you are shooting. Don't worry about that. When you're looking at the scope and you see FPP and the price tag is high, you know that scope is necessarily not the best for a first-time buyer, okay? Look for an SFP, second focal plane, and you'll see that all the price tag is going to actually be already lower. Another myth about scope is light. How do you get a brighter scope? What is it? Is it the tube diameter or is it the lens? Spoiler alert, it's not the tube. You can have a 1-inch tube with a 50 millimeter lens. It's going to be brighter, assuming the glass are equal, it's going to be brighter than a 34 millimeter tube with a 24 millimeter lens. Why is that? It's just because the light gathered through that first main lens. That's it. That's how it works. So usually the larger the lens, the brighter the scope is going to be. And the advantage that gives you is first light, last light. You will have a couple of more minutes of hunting. That's it. Okay. L lens being equal, of course. Lens brightness will vary from manufacturer to manufacturer, and this you'll have to do some tests to see which one suits your need. But I wouldn't spend, a lot of money just to earn a few minutes of hunting in the morning and a few minutes of hunting in the evening. To me, it's the trade-off is not there. Another aspect also that you will have to consider when you're buying and when the clerk is showing you model, you have two types of measurement in shooting. Okay, how we measure angle at a certain distance. So we have, it's the same thing, imperial versus metrics. All right, here in North America, most of the scope in hunting scenarios are in minute of angle, MOA, and long range shooter love the other system, the metric system, which are the mil. Which one you should get? I personally suggest going with the MOA because this is what most people use here. And if you're hunting with a buddy and you're scouting deer at a distance and he want to help you or you want to help him, you need to speak the same language. Okay, if you're building a house, one guy is speaking in metric and the other guy is speaking in inch, I can tell you that the beam will not get at the same place. The same way that if one guy is talking in mil, the other guy is talking in MOA, the bullet will not hit where it's supposed to hit. So unify your language, look at what your buddies are hunting with. If they all use MOA, go with MOA. If they all use mil, use mil. I don't think there's one better than the other, they're just different, okay? If you're hunting alone, no one's going with you, then choose whatever you want. Also, why some scope are way pricier than others, okay? Like here we have a US Optics that is like $4,000, $5,000. One key feature is definitely, well, of course, the tube diameter. Usually the larger the tube diameters, actually, yeah, I didn't speak about that. The tube diameter will give you the advantage of having a larger tube, gives you more range, all right? New hunter, limited distance, you do not need a lot. 1 inch is plenty. So larger tube diameter, more bigger component, a bit pricier, but the tracking of the scope are not equals, and they're not also that precise. What I mean by that, you're at the range, you're trying different distance, you're using your phone as a ballistic solver, and the ballistic solver calls for 30 MOA adjustment, whatever the distance, 30 MOA, okay? You will dial in your 30 MOA, you shoot, and then you hit low. What's happening? You will automatically assume that the solver is wrong. Okay, that's something right wrong, but not necessarily. It's just that your scope after 30 MOA did not actually hit 30 MOA, because when you're doing one MOA click, which is 4 click if your scope is a quarter adjustment. Maybe it's 99% MOA. So at every MOA that you adjust, you're missing 1%, 1%, 1%, and this will stack up. The more elevation you go, it's going to or windage, it's going to stack up and catch you at some point. High price scope should be more accurate. I don't think there's a 100% scope that exists on the market that I'm aware of. Maybe there is. If you know, put it down below. I'm gonna have a look. But you know, even like the S-optic, I'm sure we could. You know what? I think that's a good idea. Let's this video, of course, but I will pitch my cheapest scope versus the priciest scope and see how both of them tracks and see if it's actually, you know, if that holds true. So that tracking is what will make a scope more expensive. So when you're buying premium stuff like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 scope, you expect the tracking to be as perfect as possible. And that's one of the reasons also why when we're going for a cheaper scope, not cheaper, a less expensive scope for hunting within limited range, it's very forgiving because, you know, at 300 yards, you're not going to change your elevation by that much. You know, if your scope is 95% true, it's still pretty good in the limited range that we're using it. People used to say that if you spend $1 on a rifle, you also need to spend another $1 on the scope. Okay, so for example, you buy a $2,000 rifle, you need to buy a $2,000 scope to match the quality, okay, because you don't want to put lipstick on the pig. And the idea here is, to me today, I think it's no longer true because I think the manufacturing process has improved dramatically over the years, and the scope manufacturer has been able to actually bring down the cost a lot, meaning that you can have very, very good optics at a fraction of the cost today, you know, of what it used to be. High price doesn't necessarily mean with higher quality. High price should correlate with more features, okay? And when you think about hunting, you don't necessarily want all the bell and whistles that tactical and long-range shooter needs. Okay, for a hunting purpose, actually you want the simplest scope possible because you want no frill. You don't want anything that can go wrong, that can go bad, things that you don't know how to control in the field. Me, I really love a simple duplex, reticle, you know, just across, you know where it is. The way I zero my rifle, I'll cover that in a separate video, the actual process of zeroing, but my philosophy here is I will zero the rifle with the maximum point blank range in mind. What does that mean? Maximum point blank range. This is, once set right, you will know the maximum distance to the shorter distance, that wherever you put that crosshair, your bullet is going to be only so high or only so low that you can make an actual lethal shot on an animal, okay? So in a nutshell, what I do recommend is a low to, I would say, medium power scope, meaning like 2, 2.5, 3, 4, it's a little bit limit, you know, at the lower end of magnification, but that would work. I think 3 is a good average. And maximum to 8 to 10 magnification. You find one with 12, not a problem. You know, it's a little bit more, so that's fine. And very simple duplex, reticle, nothing too fancy. Second focal plane is plenty. And usually, you know, you get a lot of option for $100, $500 for scopes like this, okay? And don't think because your rifle, you know, you're getting like a nice rifle, you need like a $1,500 scope on it. No, you don't. So that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting? Please help me help you. Support this channel. Let YouTube know that you love this type of content, and it's going to help me help, you know, you in the long run, so we all win. See you. Bye-bye.